Hello, everyone, and welcome to the March 28th Product Analytics Group Sync. It's quite of a bit of a short and sweet agenda, but we'll go ahead and go through the build board review and then go from there. Let me share my screen. Cool. Hopefully everyone can see the build board. See some nodding. Thank you. So I have a couple of issues, a few rather, issues in open, the milestone planning issue, logging, which we're kind of holding off for now until we make a little bit more progress elsewhere. And then a couple of bug and design auditing issues, as well as a couple of new ones that are related to infrastructure. None of them are assigned to people who are here right now, so I think I'll just go ahead and skip over those until we get to more of the ones that are in active development. In design, we have a number of issues as far as kind of doing a heuristic evaluation and a couple of design improvements to the dashboard panels, as well as our dashboard listings that Kevin is on. So unless anyone has anything they'd like to call out there, I'm just keen to know the results of what Kevin finds and his suggestions for recommendations of what we can do. All right, going into planning breakdown, we have the update dashboard schemas follow-up to remove specific referrals to product analytics. Elwin, you have this issue. Is there anything you wanted to call out here? Dev,
No.
but yeah. Cool. And then we've got two blocked issues from fetching dashboard configurations from the back end, as well as removing product analytics specific dashboard listing. This is, I believe, blocked by the work that Alan, you're doing to update the backend to actually be the source of truth. So we're holding on that until then. And then I think this is dependent on, go ahead and open this one up, on updating the call to actions to configure dashboards in the shared dashboard listing. Once we can do that, we can clean up the old dashboard listings. Got an issue sitting and ready for development with no assignees, so we'll just leave that there for documenting available visualization options. And then onto the good stuff, we have the issues that are in development. Alan, you have the first issue here. Anything to call out?
That's actually in review now as of today, so that should be coming along.
Awesome. And then Tim's not present, but we can see if there's any update on adding the dashboard button on the analytics stat listing page. Yeah, there's an MR for this one, I believe. Yeah, it's still in draft, so we'll leave that there. It's currently assigned to Jan. And then we've got presenting the call to actions to configure dashboard listing, to configure the dashboards in the shared dashboard listing. Excuse me. This is still in development and no update since last week. So it's yeah, seems like there's no update here. Cool. And then we've got create queue schemas to read from snowplow generated columns that Max has been working on. I believe this is in review. There was a merge request, or there are schemas you can use to use a snowplow, but there's no update here. Okay, so moving on to in review, the connection to dev and staging clusters is on hold since we just merged in the snowplow and Kafka services for our analytics stack. So I'll be working on deploying those, though we'll still need to figure out how we actually want to integrate with that before we actually do the actual switch over to snowplow. So it's still on hold temporarily. We've got the consolidation of product analytics feature flags from Halil, which is, I believe, in review. Same with his product analytics application setting for defining a collector host to fix the documentation for onboarding. And then adding empty state to panels. Ellen, this one's in review. Anything you wanted to call out here?
I just got some more feedback on that last night, so I'll take another look at that today. It should be not too far away.
Awesome. Cool. And then we've got hosting the snowplow collector in the product analytics deployed cluster. So these are our Kubernetes clusters that we're using out in dev staging and production. That has just been merged earlier today. And so, like I mentioned before, we're working on getting those deployed out, though I think the production cluster might need some reconfiguration to actually be able to have the capacity to run both snowplow and Kafka. So we'll see how that goes. And Ellen, you've got the next two issues here in review. Anything you wanted to call out?
Similar to the last one, feedback's sitting there ready to go this morning. Yeah, shouldn't be too far away.
All right, cool. Then we've got updating the analytics app to retrieve the stack state from the API, which is in review. And then Alan's issue, which has just moved into in review. So I believe that leaves us with just closed. So I believe the last issue was learning the domain tech. So we've got the previous milestones planning issue, adding a feature spec for the dashboard's visualization designer. Alan, anything you wanted to call out here?
There's a little bit more that we could test on that. This just kind of covers some of the very basic flows, but yeah, it's got something in there now, which is a good starting point.
Awesome. Cool. And then we've got defining permissions for who can access feature screens for product analytics. Alan, was there anything you wanted to call out now that this is closed?
No, it's just merged and it's applied in production. So shouldn't notice any changes for us. So
awesome. Great. And as you might have seen in Slack, we got our blog post about product analytics internal preview. So if you haven't checked that out, give that a good read. And that will wrap up our board review. Moving on, I just wanted to call it a shout out an issue that Alan's created in terms of where a custom dashboard should be located. We've got kind of like a breadcrumb of how we used to do things before we were working on having this as like a dashboard framework for multiple groups to consume. And so that's evolved over time. And so we've kind of got remnants of how things used to be. And so this is just a place where we can have an async discussion. You might have seen some of that in Slack in terms of where we think things should live. So this is just a call out to anyone here or watching the recording to chime in and give your thoughts there. I think there's already some good suggestions there, but thanks, Alan, for putting that together. And that's it for what I had. Anyone have anything they wanted to discuss or show off? All right. Well, actually, one final thing is I know we've been moving pieces in and out of like the architecture, and it's kind of hard to visualize. And we've got some diagram to kind of illustrate what that looks like, but it's not really up to date. So one thing I'm trying to work on is a repository where we can do a diagram with code of our architecture so that we can kind of see how it changes over time. We can go as in-depth as we need to, but it'll hopefully be a single source of truth for things that you started seeing in various different issues and epics in terms of how the product analytics stack is supposed to work or how it will work with Snowplow replacing Jitsu, or how our different cluster configurations are supposed to work, since you can theoretically use GitLab managed as a shared service or as a dedicated one or as a self-managed one. So hopefully there'll be a little bit less confusion, because I know it's been a little bit tough in terms of the fact that we're changing so much and it's tough to keep track of all of that. At the same time, I'm doing an audit of different documentation that we have kind of in different places about how to get the GDK connected to the dev kit and things like that, and which feature flags to enable. So hopefully we can consolidate a little bit of that, just to kind of, I guess it's very appropriate given it's spring is coming to, what I'm trying to say is I'm doing spring cleaning for documentation. So as soon as I have more to share, definitely keen to, especially Alan, get, well, everyone here actually get your feedback in terms of, what you learned thus far, if the documentation reflects that and what's missing, because I can imagine that it's been difficult to keep track of everything, because a lot of it's been stuck in our heads for several months. So anything that doesn't make sense, please reach out and let us know. But hopefully I can have more to share next week.
Thank you, Dennis.
Sounds good.
Yeah. So that's it for an impromptu agenda point. But if there's nothing else, then I wish everyone a good rest of their what day is it? Tuesday? Yep. And yeah, good rest of your day, good rest of your week, and see y'all in another one.
Cheers.
Take care.
See you.